Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Saturday, everybody. Hope your day and your weekend are off to a fantastic start. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 4 MLB Player Props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate. But first, guys, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. And like I mentioned a couple times now already, guys, early season MLB player prop betting is always difficult. Another 2-3 night last night. Again, not a very good night. We had more losses than we had wins. We did hand out a couple nice bets, though. Tyler Soderstrom over half a hit, and Adolis Garcia under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Both were hits for us, pun intended, I guess. But Yandy Diaz, Alex Bregman, and Yanir Diaz all misses. Again, me betting over is probably not the best strategy right now, but we're going to get there. We still have a long year to go. Overall, now we're 4-6 through the first 2 days in the MLB slate. We are down a few units. We're going to make those back. No worry about that at all. 4-6 start, not the best start, but guys, we got a new day. We got some new opportunities and some fresh new player props to go ahead and get into. So let's leave the negative behind and move on to the positive, which are today's picks. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Jumping right into the outlier screen, guys, our first player prop in today's slate comes from the Red Sox-Rangers game, 7:05 p.m. first pitch. We're going Rafi Devers of the Boston Red Sox over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, which we're getting for -130 over on DraftKings. Now, the numbers overall last year for Rafi were pretty solid. 53% hit rate overall last year. 73 out of 138 games he cashed the over, averaging 2.27 hits, runs, RBIs per game last year. Now, so far this year in the 2 games played, he's failed to cash the over in both games versus the Rangers this year. That just means, honestly, that I think he's probably due for at least a hit or something today's game. Look at the head-to-head matchup. He actually had pretty solid performances against the Rangers leading into this season opening series. Look at last year. I mean, 5 out of 6 matchups with the Rangers last year, he cashed the over. He's now have a couple misses this year, but still 5 of his last 8. That's a 63% hit rate, averaging 1.88 hits, runs, RBIs per game against the Rangers. So pretty good head-to-head matchup as well for Rafi Devers. Again, so far 2 misses this season. Do you have to wonder if the move to DH maybe psychologically has messed with him a little bit? I don't know. But I still think it's a pretty good spot to go ahead and tail. For -130 odds, too. Pretty good value. Looking at the matchup against Tyler Mahle, very small sample size, just 2 plate appearances since 2018. He did strike out both times, but still just 2 plate appearances, very, very small sample size. On paper, this should be a pretty solid matchup. Rafael Devers batted .272 overall last year versus right-handed pitchers, a nice steady increase to .293. His WRC plus 162.3. So pretty good numbers there. And then looking at Tyler Mahle, although his ERA does drop now, very small sample size. He only had 56 batters faced in total last year versus left-handed batters, only 27 batters faced. Again, very small sample size. Pretty decent ERA, but his batting average allowed was .292. Not a ton to go off of there, but I do think the increase in batting average overall last year, .280 batting average, .497 ERA, .329 WOBA. I think this is a pretty inexperienced, pretty green pitcher that Rafael Devers should be able to go ahead and take advantage of. And obviously, there's a clear indicator he did struggle a little bit versus left-handed batters in those few appearances. 7 hits in 27 batters faced. For -130 odds, I think the value is just too solid to go ahead and pass up. So we'll go ahead and take Rafael Devers over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. That's our first player prop in today's slate. All right, guys, moving on. Our second player prop in today's slate comes from the Tigers-Dodgers game, 9:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Riley Green of the Detroit Tigers over half a total base, which is -150 over on DraftKings. A little juice there, but a lot of these player props, as you'll learn throughout the season, have a lot of juice to them, meaning, of course, the odds are a lot higher. But this seems to be pretty good data here. You see, okay, we're not using the recent data like I mentioned before, but the overall numbers here, 65% hit rate last year for Riley Green, 94 out of 144 games last year. He cashed the over, averaging 1.75 total bases per game last season. From a head-to-head data standpoint, each of his last 5 matchups against the Dodgers, he's cashed the over, including both times they played this year so far. He's cashed the over. So some pretty good numbers here for Riley Green, averaging 2.4 total bases per game over those last 5 meetings with the LA Dodgers. So like I said, pretty good numbers. You see a lot of green here, last 5, last 10. Again, I don't really use those right now because it's still, a lot of last year's numbers, end of the year last year numbers. But looking down below at the supporting stats, the key matchup stats here, unfortunately, because Sasaki is a rookie, we don't have really anything to go off of here. But Riley Green, overall, 262 batting average last year, 329 BA BIP. You do see versus right-handed pitchers like Sasaki, his numbers went up, 280 batting average, 352 BA BIP. His ISO slightly decreased, but it's basically the same number. And his extra base hit percentage did drop a little bit, but we only need him to hit a single in this bet cashes. But we do see a nice increase versus right-handed pitchers, so that obviously is very encouraging. Unfortunately, we don't really know what Sasaki is going to do, but he is a rookie pitcher, which to me, I think it's a pretty good matchup here. A veteran hitter versus a rookie pitcher. I say veteran, it's only like his 4th year, and I think in Major League Baseball. But still, you get the point. You have an experienced hitter against a rookie pitcher who's already had a pretty decent start to this year. I like the spot. Minus 150, a little high on the odds, but I think it's still worth taking a shot on. So that's our second player prop in today's slate. Guys, before we move on to the rest of today's picks, I want to go ahead and offer a thank you to everybody who's watching at this point in today's video. I know the picks haven't been hitting as great to start the year, but we do still put a lot of hard work, time, and research into each and every pick and each and every video we do here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel. So if you are still watching at this point, we just passed the 6-minute mark in today's video. So if you are still watching, please comment 6 down below in today's video. Comment 6 down below, and as always, guys, I appreciate those who watch through each and every single video in our channel, on our channel, in our channel, whatever you want to say. Thank you, because obviously, and I don't, if you want to come and just grab the picks, I understand, I get it, but we do put a lot of time and work into this. So those who do watch through the analysis and listen to what we have to say, it really does mean a lot. So comment 6 down below, and let's finish up with our final 2 player props in today's slate. All right, guys, our final 2 player props in today's slate are coming from the Athletics-Mariners game, 9:40 p.m. first pitch. Our third player prop overall and our first of 2 player props from this game. Yeah, we're fading the hot hand here, Tyler Soderstrom, who has cashed us yesterday. We're going under half a hit here, which we're actually getting for plus money here, plus 115 over in BetMGM. I'm not going to put a full unit on this one. This is probably like a half unit play, maybe a little bit more than half a unit. We'll see how I feel about it, but obviously a lot of red here. In both games this year, he's got 2 hits in both games this season for the A's. Last year, cashed at a 45% hit rate, so actually not terrible. But obviously, you do see a lot of red here. Head-to-head, he's failed to cash the under in each of his last 8 matchups versus the Seattle Mariners. Why do I like the player prop? Well, I just think fading a guy who's been this hot it could be really stupid. I could be doing something really stupid here. But for plus money, for a guy who's batting .225 versus right-handed pitchers, I think it's worth taking a shot on. Now, he has 3 plate appearances versus Bryce Miller since 2018. 1 hit in those 3 plate appearances. Again, small sample size. He struck out 2 of the 3 plate appearances, and he has 1 hit in the other. Again, he's batting .233 overall last year, .225 versus right-handed pitchers, though, so you do see a decrease there. His BA-BIP goes down to .259. His WRC+, slight decrease to 113.1. The only thing that he gets an increase is his hard hitting percentage. Goes up to 40.5, but I'm not too concerned about that. Looking at Bryce Miller last year, 200 batting average, 237 BA-BIP. You do see versus left-handed batters, some of his numbers increase, but even at that increased line, it's still a good player prop. Like, okay, yeah, it's in the red because it's increased, but 207 batting average allowed versus left-handed batters and 380 batters faced. It's a pretty good number there. So yes, it's higher than his overall numbers clearly versus right-handed batters. Bryce Miller had more success last season, but that's not to say he didn't have any success versus left-handed batters either. His BA-BIP does decrease at 230. However, his ERA and his FIP both do increase versus left-handed batters. Overall, I still think it's a pretty good matchup here. Obviously, Bryce Miller heavily favors the fastball here. And looking down below at the heat maps here, it looks like we got a pretty decent spot. Now, you do see Tyler Soderstrom where he gets hot is in down right here in the middle of the batter's box here. Batter's box, holy shit. I mean strike zone. Look at the strike zone here. You do see right here about middle of the plate. That's where he gets hot. However, look at Bryce Miller. That's where he pitches his best with the fastball. The one area where Bryce Miller has been getting kind of dinged up here when it comes to getting hit off of is right here in that top left corner. But look at Tyler Soderstrom. He's actually pretty cold from the top left corner with the fastball. So I do think you have that to kind of take advantage. Obviously, Bryce Miller throwing fastballs at a 42.3% rate, where the majority of his pitches are obviously fastballs. Like I said, I know it's risky fading a guy who's cashed in 8 straight games versus the Mariners, who's 2-0 so far this year on this line. But I do think for plus money, it's worth taking a shot. Again, a guy who's batting .225 versus right-handed pitchers last year. Worth taking a chance here. So going the under half a hit here. And our fourth and final player prop in today's slate, guys, speaking of Bryce Miller, we're going Bryce Miller over 5.5 strikeouts, which we're getting for minus 135. over on DraftKings. It is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. Looking at the last year's number for Bryce Miller, a 52% hit rate last season, 16 out of 31 starts last year. He cashed the over, averaging 5.52 strikeouts per game last season for Seattle. Now, the head-to-head numbers, the last time he faced off with the Athletics back on May 11th of last year, he had a whopping 9 strikeouts in a game where the Mariners actually got beat pretty badly. They lost 8-1, which is pretty crazy, but he did have 9 strikeouts in that game, which honestly doesn't make a ton of sense when you look at the box score, but that's what happened. Went 6 innings, 25 batters faced, 36% strikeout rate, 9 out of 25 batters faced. We only need him to get 6, so we don't even need him to do that much here. Bryce Miller, the insights provided by Outlier. Bryce Miller has exceeded 5.5 strikeouts in 12 of his last 14 games at home, averaging 7.2 strikeouts per game average over the last 14 home games. We can go ahead and show you guys when he played in Seattle last year, what that looks like for Bryce Miller. And last season, when pitching in Seattle, an 81% hit rate at home, 13 out of 16 home games last year, he cashed the over, averaging 6.94 strikeouts per game last season at home. So some really good numbers there. And then down below, that's the Athletics batting versus right-handed pitchers, obviously using last year's data to our advantage. They were bottom 3 in Major League Baseball in strikeout rate, so obviously very good matchups. Walks per strikeout's good. Their batting average, obviously lower tier. That was last year, obviously a bit of a different team this year, but obviously taking what we have from last year's numbers, the Athletics did strike out quite a bit, especially versus right-handed pitchers, and obviously Bryce Miller had a pretty good year overall last year. So using what we have to our advantage when it comes to numbers, I do think it's a pretty good spot to go ahead and tail Bryce Miller. So that's our 4th player prop in today's slate. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. No video tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday with another MLB player prop video. And one more time, my apologies, guys. Obviously, it's tough right now to find numbers and stuff because a lot of the numbers are based off of last year's numbers. They're outdated data. Trying to do my best to find you guys positive numbers to go ahead and make smart sports betting choices with. Again, bear with me. As the weeks go on and we get more games under our belt and some more data comes in from this year, we'll be able to make some better sports betting choices. Not to say that they're bad picks today, just saying it's obviously a little more difficult and tricky to kind of navigate through the numbers to find which ones are relevant and which ones are irrelevant. But thank you very much for watching. We'll be back on Monday with another MLB player prop video. Until then, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your weekend. Have some fun. Let's go ahead and make some money.